Did you hear that?
Relax, that's just the doc, the one they use in secret launches, 3 and then 2. It just means they're listening.
Listening to what? A dude in Idaho ranting about potato monsters and skinwalkers? Please. The Freemasons have way better things to do.
Yeah, that's what they want you to think. First it's a knock, next thing you know, you're waking up in the Vatican's basement holding a candle you didn't light, surrounded by paintings where eyes follow.
Oh yeah, sure, right after the Rothschilds swing by to repossess my couch because it's stuffed with gold bombs.
Don't joke, dude. DC is literally built in the shape of a pentagram. Washington knew what he was doing.
I literally hate that you might be right.
Yeah, that's because I'm literally always right. Just like I'm always right about Welcome to the
Stop,
Witch
stop,
Show.
stop. No, stop
okay,
it.
Fine.
You stop.
Fine.
I do it. I always do the thing, not you. Me, you stupid idiot. Welcome to the Witch Show, where smart meets stupid and somehow makes sense. I'm Georgie, and I'm thinking out loud so you don't have to.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Witch Show, from what I think seriously to you.
WITS, The Witch Show.
Cool story, bro.
The Builders of Nations or Puppet Masters? I don't know, you tell me. They call themselves the Freemasons. Or the Builders, but at face value, they're just a fraternity that goes back to medieval stonecutters. However, conspiracy theorists say there are much more, the secret architects of the modern world. But let's go ahead and rewind, right? We're talking about medieval lodges of stonemasons that supposedly carried forward secrets of geometry, hidden wisdom of Egypt, and maybe even secrets from Atlantis itself. They later became the Knights Templar, the warrior monks who became the international bankers, if you will. They vanished in smoke. Or did they? Some people believe that their treasure and their knowledge flowed directly into the early masonry. Of course, let's jump forward to the founding fathers. Washington, Franklin, Revere, all Masons. The cornerstone of the U.S. Capitol was laid in Masonic ceremony. Washington, D.C.'s streets form compasses, squares, even pentagrams when they're viewed from above, and none of this is by accident. But here's the kicker. At the same time the Masons were building nations, the Rothschild family was building banks. Nathan Rothschild famously funded both sides of the Napoleonic Wars, and his brothers spread across Europe like a web, creating a dynasty that could move money faster than kings could move armies. So, here's the theory. The Freemasons provided the blueprints for the nations, while the Rothschilds provided the money. One shaped the ideology, and the other made sure it was funded. And together, they became the hidden hand behind revolutions and empires. So it makes you wonder, was America's independence really about freedom, or was it a carefully staged reshuffling of power between two secret partners? But here's where it gets creepy. So the symbols, right? You've seen them everywhere. You don't realize that you've seen them, but you have. And you don't notice them until you start connecting the dots. Take the dollar bill, for example. On one side, the all-seeing eye is floating above the unfinished pyramid. Official story? Well, it's just the eye of providence symbolizing divine guidance. But conspiracists say that it's the Masonic through and through. The pyramid has 13 steps, not just for the colonies, but maybe the 13 Illuminati bloodlines. And who sits above it all? The eye. Watching. Always watching. And follow the money. Whose power is represented by that green slip in your pocket? Control banks. Debt. Systems allegedly engineered and dominated by families like the Rothschilds. The eye isn't just God watching you. It's the bankers. It's the hidden elite. Look at Washington, D.C. From above, the streets look like Masonic tools. The Washington Monument is a towering obelisk, an Egyptian symbol of solar power and dominance. And here's a fun fact. Did you know that it's 555 feet tall? That's not random. Numbers, geometry, architecture, all chosen with intent. Ordinary people, we are the bricks at the bottom, holding up the structure. And above us are the politicians, the corporations, and the secret societies. And at the very top, the glowing eye, representing the knowledge, surveillance, and control. Many believe that the eye represents the Rothschild destiny, the financial overseers of the world, hiding in plain sight while the Freemasons sign everything with their symbols. It really does make you wonder when you're buying that cup of coffee with a dollar bill, are you paying for it, or are you just feeding the machine? Now here's the darkest piece of the puzzle. Why all the secrecy? Why all the symbols? What are they guarding? The Freemasons claim the brotherhood of morality and charity, but at higher levels, conspiracists say that they're hiding forbidden knowledge, sacred geometry that encodes the universe, ancient Egyptian rituals, the lost word of God, a piece of wisdom so powerful that it could reshape civilization. And then comes the Rothschild angle. Knowledge is nothing without power to enforce it. The Rothschilds didn't just become wealthy, they became the bankers of nations. funding kings, revolutions, governments. Wars came and went, but debt remained. And debt is control. I mean, think about it. The Freemasons guard the ancient secrets, and the Rothschilds guard the purse strings. One manipulates the mind, and then the other one manipulates the money. I mean, think about it. Doesn't it kind of sound familiar? In the book of Enoch, the Watchers descend and gave humanity forbidden knowledge, changing us forever. The Anunnaki were said to shape mankind, mixing bloodlines and secrets. What if Freemasonry is just the latest mask of that ancient lineage, the keepers of the divine alien knowledge? And the Rothschilds? The chosen bloodline to control the material world. And the endgame? Well, some say it's the New World Order. A new world government, a one world currency, a society where symbols and money both trace back to the same hidden alliance. Here's the chilling part, right? What if it's already here? What if in the world we're living in, the flags and the banks and the laws are all piece of the same blueprint drawn by the Masonic Lodge, paid for by the Rothschilds Vault, and carried out under the watchful eye on the dollar bill in your wallet? Let's change gears for a second, though. For centuries, the Vatican has called the Freemasonries the Church's greatest enemy. But why would the popes care so much about a fraternity of builders? Unless the Masons had something the Vatican didn't want the world to know. Since the 1700s, the Vatican has reportedly condemned Freemasonry, even threatening excommunication. So what's the theory behind it all? Well, there's actually a few. Freemasons promote individual enlightenment and secret knowledge, rival to the Church's authority. Some even claim that Freemasonry carries ancient pre-Christian knowledge that undermines the Church's narrative. Others say that the Masons and the Vatican are actually two sides of the same coin, competing for control of humanity's soul. But my favorite theory is deep beneath the Vatican City lies the Vatican's secret archives. It's 53 miles long, it's got shelvings containing documents that the public will never see. Some theorists claim that these include proof of Masonic rituals, alien contact, or even the true origins of Christianity. So what if the Church condemned the Freemasons not because they were dangerous, but because they were competing in the global game of control? It's hard to look at the facts and think that there's nothing going on. I mean, there's definitely something there. And despite whatever it is, they're definitely keeping us in the dark. The fact that you'll never be able to see what's actually in the Vatican's secret archives is proof enough. Nobody benefits from lack of knowledge. So what are they hiding from us? What do they really not want us to know? I mean, you really got to think. They're keeping it from our knowledge because it benefits them. If it benefited them for us to know, then they would tell us. Keeping knowledge from anybody is plain wrong, unless there's a narrative. So on that fact alone, you got to think that there's definitely something going on. But it gets better than that. You know the saying, follow the money? What if I told you the Vatican and the Rothschilds once made a deal that changed history? Have you heard of the 1820s bailout? The Papal States were in financial ruin. Enter the Rothschilds. Historical records confirm that the Vatican borrowed heavily from the Rothschilds' banking family. This was the moment the Church became financially dependent on the Rothschild dynasty. Conspiracists say it's why the Vatican is still one of the world's richest entities today, with assets in banking, real estate, and corporations worldwide. The Vatican got financially stable, the Rothschilds got influence over the Church, a partnership between spiritual authority and financial empire. Many point to Vatican architecture and even papal regalia as showing Masonic-style symbols after this period. Was it just fashion or hidden influence? What if the Vatican didn't just ally with the Rothschilds for survival? What if they sold their soul to them, creating the ultimate fusion between money and religion? Think about it. It's the perfect play. Two of the biggest things that people fight for every single day is money or something they believe in. So, if you control both of those things, then you're going to control the majority of the populace worldwide. Global control or one world order. If the Freemasons build the blueprints and the Rothschilds fund the system, then who controls the belief? Well, enter the Vatican. For centuries, the Vatican dictated what humans should believe, from the shape of the cosmos to the limit of science. Some claim the Vatican secretly aligns with the Masonic and Rothschilds' agenda, not against them. Publicly, they feud, but behind the scenes, they collaborate. But what's the goal? Well, that's simple. A new world religion under a new world order. And they're good at it, too. They're preparing for everything, including alien connections. Typically, they do this in a covert way or a way that you're not going to see it coming right at you. They're not going to be like, yo, aliens exist, still follow our religion. But they'll definitely hint at it. For example, even the Vatican has hinted at extraterrestrial life. Its astronomers at Mount Graham Observatory have literally said aliens would still be children of God. Is this prepping humanity for disclosure on their terms? And the theory here is that one day the Vatican, the Masons, and the Rothschilds unite the world under one system. One bank, one government, one religion. It's literally perfect control. But what if the final chord of the New World Order isn't political or financial at all, but spiritual? A manufactured global religion controlled by the same hidden hands that shape the nations and money. Okay, but here's where we take the gloves off. Everyone knows that the Freemasons are builders of the cathedrals and the monuments. But what if they weren't just builders of stone? What if they were the builders of us? Think about it. Their obsession with geometry, balance, proportion. What if that wasn't about architecture at all, but about biology? About DNA itself? Conspiracy theorists say that Freemasonry is just a public mask of an older tradition, one that carries the secrets of how humanity was designed in the first place. Take chromosome number 2, right? I've covered this in a previous podcast. Chromosome number 2 was the one that scientists admit was fused together in our distant past. I mean, they've actually admitted this. Was this random or accident, or was it engineering? I personally think it was engineering, but of course that's for you to decide personally. But what if the square and the compass, their most famous symbol, isn't just about measuring stone, but about measuring genes? A hidden reminder that someone, somewhere, built us like blueprints. And here's the wild part. Look at the cities designed under Masonic influence. Washington, D.C. is laid out like a compass and a square. Paris has Masonic geometry in its boulevards. London has obelisks and hidden symbols everywhere. What if entire cities are built like giant circuits, designed to resonate with the architecture of the human body, syncing our minds and energy to the grid around us? The Freemasons don't just build cathedrals, they build societies. They build the frameworks of reality itself. And maybe, just maybe, they were entrusted with the blueprints of flesh and stone. But let's talk about the Rothschilds. Everyone knows the conspiracy. They control the banks, the money, the wars. But what if the money isn't what they're really after? What if money is just the mask, and what they're truly harvesting is time? Think about it. $1 isn't just paper. It's a marker of energy, of labor, of hours you'll never get back. When you take out a loan, you're literally selling your future time. A mortgage isn't just a debt. It's decades of your life measured, tracked, and harvested. The Rothschild dynasty perfected this. By controlling central banks, they didn't just control wealth, they controlled the rhythm of human existence. Wars, market, recessions, all engineered to keep the machine running, sucking time out of the population like a siphon. And here's the terrifying thought. What if debt itself is an ancient ritual? A way of binding humanity, lifetime after lifetime, to a system that feeds energy into a bigger something. Money is just the middleman. The real currency is your years. So maybe the Rothschilds aren't just bankers. Maybe they're bankers of time, guardians of the machine that harvests human lifespan to keep the world under their control. Personally, I think they're the top 1% of the people in the world that don't care about us, that want to stay on top and stay rich. They're the kind of people that would sell their souls to the devil for $1, but only if it made them $1 richer than you. But of course they say money isn't everything. Personally, I say speak for yourself. I've never seen a sad man driving his own boat, and I've never seen a sad man drinking a Mai Tai on a yacht. I'm not saying that I personally would sell my soul to get it, but I would write a really controversial book that made me a ton of money so I could buy a really nice pool when it was hot outside. And if people decided to choose it as their religion, I'm not going to correct them, especially if it's making me a ton of money. And that's why we have freedom of religion. At least for now. Which brings us back to the final piece of the puzzle, the Vatican. Everyone knows they guard the Vatican's secret archives. 53 miles of documents the public will never see. But what if those archives aren't just dusty records? What if they're the memory core of humanity itself? Religion has always been about narrative. Who we are, where we came from, what we're allowed to believe. By controlling the story, the Vatican controls the mind. Think about how many books were burned, and how many texts were declared heresy. How much history we'll never know. So here's the unifying theory. The Freemasons are the architects of the body, the blueprints of flesh and stone. The Rothschilds are the keepers of time, binding us with money and debt, harvesting our lifespan. The Vatican is the guardian of the mind, rewriting memory, controlling the story of who we are and what's possible. Body, time, mind, 3 pillars of human existence, each controlled by different hands, but all working together. So what if the world isn't just random chaos? What if it's a system, a machine built long ago by forces we've forgotten? And what if the Freemasons, the Rothschilds, and the Vatican are the custodians of that machine, each guarding their piece of the puzzle? Maybe we don't live in a free society at all. Maybe we live inside a designed system of control. A system that builds us, binds us, and blinds us. Flesh, time, memory, all of it, locked down. And the craziest part? We call it reality. We've gone from secret societies to hidden strings of power, from the Freemasons to the Rothschilds to the Vatican. But all of that, every ritual, symbol, and conspiracy, might just be shadows on a wall. What if the real truth isn't about who's in control, but whether any of us is in the real at all? The real being reality. Maybe the Masons weren't just building monuments. Maybe they were patching the code. Maybe the Vatican isn't hiding God's word, but the source code of this entire reality. And the Rothschilds' wealth? Maybe that's just the access to the administrator account. Science already tells us that the universe behaves like code. Particles blink in and out of existence, like ones and zeros. What if the reason ancient societies guarded knowledge so tightly wasn't power? It was because they figured out that reality isn't physical, it's programmable. So here's the wild part. What if every war, every economic crash, every so-called conspiracy is just a line of code injected to keep us distracted? What if the groups we are thinking that are running things are really just the mid-level managers of reality? The IT guys of the universe? Maybe that's why all these conspiracies exist. The rituals, the bloodlines, the hidden documents, they aren't about power. They're about maintenance. They're the duct tape holding the simulation together. And the cracks, the deja vu, the Mandela effect, the UFOs, those are the error messages. Warnings that the whole system is failing. I mean, think about it. Haven't you ever thought that the world is against you? Like when you start winning, you take 2 steps back? Start getting nervous because everything's all right when you're so used to chaos? Maybe it's all part of the design. Maybe it's all partly to keep you constantly challenged. So the next time you wonder why the world feels off, maybe it's not politics. Maybe it's not secret families. Maybe it's the program struggling to load. And if that's true, then somewhere out there, someone might be listening to this right now. Not because they like conspiracies, but because they're debugging reality itself. It really makes you wonder how far down the totem pole you really are. What's your purpose in society? For that matter, what's your purpose in existence altogether? People try explaining it with religion, but I know that when I go to sleep, everything goes dark, unless I'm dreaming, of course. But we've all had those moments where you fall asleep and you wake up and it feels like a few seconds went by. Is that what the afterlife feels like? You just go dark until you get your next consciousness? Maybe we're in a simulation and that's just us rebooting to the next level. And don't even get me started on money. People are always grinding for it. It keeps us exhausted. The system was perfectly designed to keep us hungry and wanting more. We're just cogs in the machine. And for what? To keep us at the bottom? So that they can stay at the top? I mean, after all, it sounds logical. Control the money, the religion, what people believe in. You own them at that point. But that's for you to decide. But if you run into any Freemasons with a funny handshake, or a Rothschild with a debt contract, or a Vatican priest guarding a locked door, tell them Georgie said he's fresh out of whiskey, and I would personally like a refund on my subscription to reality. Anyway, this has been The Witch Show, where smart meets stupid and somehow makes sense. I'm Georgie, signing off before somebody erases this recording from the archives. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, maybe reality isn't broken. Maybe it's rigged. After all, fate does pick favorites. Or maybe it doesn't. I don't know. It's your world. I'm just living in it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Witch Show from what I think seriously to you.
WITS, The Witch Show.
Cool story, bro.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning into The Witch Show. If you made it this far, you're officially smarter, or at least more confused. Either way, I appreciate you. Drop me something wild in the comments. A theory, a creepy story, or even just your best dad joke. And if it blows my mind, I might feature it in my next episode. Don't forget to follow so you don't miss the next brain-melting rabbit hole we dive into next. Until then, I'm Georgie, and I'm thinking out loud so you don't have to.